Hello and welcome to CVG's Microsoft E3 preview show. I'm Dan Dawkins and I'm joined today by Tim Clark.
Hello.
And Rob Crossley.
Hello.
And we're here to talk about what we expect from Microsoft's E3 conference. We'll start by, we'll ask Tim, what do Microsoft need to do and how are they going to do it?
The first part of the question is they've set the agenda themselves already after the announcement of Xbox One. They said it was effectively an announcement in two parts, and the second part would be E3 and would be all the games. Given what was quite a turbulent response, I think people generally liked the machine and its capabilities. Were a little bit befuddled by the kind of the focus on TV, as hardcore gamers certainly tend to be about anything that isn't games. They need to kind of, almost a bit like the EA do at their press conferences, where they go, here's just 10 games and we'll show you how great they are. Although EA have slightly misfired with that over the last couple of years, they need to deliver a similar kind of relentless machine gunning of exciting exclusives. Now, the issue they have with that is they, in terms of internal development resource, they probably don't have the muscle to do that, so they're going to have to flex their wallet instead and bring on partner after partner who they've put the money hat on and tied into exclusivity deals. And I think a big part of how successful their show will be the actual significance of those deals. If it's just, you're going to get the map packs first, I can see the importance of that with COD, but less with other games. If they get genuine, and this is something Rob and I were talking about earlier, if they can get a genuine big hitter game like the Respawn game, and tie that exclusively to the console completely.
Do you think the Respawn game will be exclusive?
I think they're going to be there, and I think there will be an element of exclusivity. But I'm not. Truth of it is, I'm not sure what that would be. I think they need to have it like another Gears of Wars for them. I think they need it to be only on their machine.
I mean, you were speaking off air, Rob, about the Respawn game being not just like a micro exclusive, but quite a significant exclusive. I mean, what leads you to think that?
Just from what I've read about the deal, I don't know anything intimately about the deal myself, but I get the impression, well, Microsoft clearly knows that the first year of a console's release is by far the most important. And they flooded the market with 10 million Xbox 360s in the first year just to get that massive foot in the door. And they'll want to do the same again. And so I think...
They should have put fans in them.
Yeah, I know. Oh,
that's satire. They did have fans in them. They just weren't very good ones.
But so I think they've already said that there's going to be 15 exclusives in the first year of the Xbox One, and I think Respawn's new game is going to be one of them. Whether that's a generational exclusive, I'm not sure.
When they talked about those exclusives, did you guys read that to be what we kind of understand to be sort of big AAA type games, or do you think that's a mixture of there'll be some indie stuff in there?
No, there'll be a lot of Connect Clown games where you go and all that stuff. I imagine anyway, right? Then again, I suppose new consoles cater to the core first, right? So, how many of those family-friendly games do you think we're going to see?
Well, certainly there'll be a chunk of that 15 will be Kinect, because anything that's aimed pretty much purely at Kinect is almost by default a Microsoft exclusive at the moment.
Yeah.
I don't know, I thought that number was high, which made me suspicious about the padding, but I don't think you need to have 15 amazing ones. I think if you get 4 or 5 things that genuinely stand out as reasons to own that machine. I mean, that's how Nintendo's operated, isn't it? They've effectively always had, like, a Zelda, a 3D Mario, a Mario Kart, and you buy it for those games. And the big difference this time is I think you're going to have 2 machines in the Xbox One and the PS4 coming out roughly the same time, at probably roughly the same price, and probably with roughly the same power. And that then puts all the pressure on what experiences do you offer that your rival doesn't. And I think it's going to be really interesting for Microsoft to do genuine proof of concept that they can consistently serve up things that you can't get elsewhere, because you only have to look at the end game of Xbox and Xbox 360 and PS3, and the lineups are incredibly similar. Like beyond the Halos and Uncharted, there's nothing between them really. Like everything's on everything. So those deals become massive, and for third parties, it's then a balancing act between what do you sacrifice by going with one machine, but then what do you gain in terms of additional exposure, extra marketing spend that the platform holders put in. I can see that, especially if you look at publishing companies which are in a bit of trouble or having a harder time, I think they're the ones that they're going to target to try and get. Mirror's Edge is a good example as well.
Yeah, Mirror's Edge 2 is rumoured to debut on Xbox One. We're not sure if it's a full-blown Xbox One exclusive or if it's a kind of whether it's a digital download game or whether it's some sort of neutered version of a Mirror's Edge 2. It sounds like it's been rescued from sort of development limbo. Exactly like Tim said, it's a game that probably wouldn't live without Microsoft assistance, but because it's cool, it's an instant buy-in of kudos for them. So they can't wheel out The Last Guardian, but they can say, that Mirror's Edge you all love, here it is.
But that's
We've
exactly the
brought it
reason a
back.
company like Sony has games like in the past like that. It's to say we are the guys who are we're cool about these artsy sort of games, and Microsoft has traditionally been weak on that. So I think that makes total sense.
Even though Microsoft has been traditionally weak on that, I think they are learning their lesson. In 2011, they opened that Vancouver studio. Remember Black Tusk?
Yeah.
And a year later, they said it was up to 110 people, and they're fully in production on a game that was going to be the next big Halo type game. Not a Halo game, but something the size of Halo.
Yeah.
And so they've now been in production for a year and a half, a new studio based in Vancouver, and I think they're going to come out to play at this E3 and show off something.
Do you want to predict a genre?
FPS.
You brazier!
Just what we need more of. Thank heavens.
It's a puzzle game. It's the puzzle game to end all puzzle games. There was a list of this might be in the realm of rumour. There was 15-ish games, more or less. They're not necessarily the exclusives that leaked out, that were reported on many sites, including like a slide of logos of certain games.
Run through them, Dan. Have you got them there?
I've got them right here, Tim, as luck would have it. Now, the list includes Killer Instinct. I'll run through them, then we can react excitedly or not to them.
You said that to me earlier in the office, and I said, but they wouldn't just make a fighting game, like a one-on-one fighting game. But it's hard to imagine. Like that genre seems so on its arse, unless you're a Japanese developer with great heritage, in which case you've got like a built-in audience of like super.
And also the development
aficionados.
staff that can do that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, fighting games are so specific these days, right? It's like building nuclear power plants,
Is there even a fighting game being made in the West? I mean, they're all. It's either if it's not at Namco or Tecmo.
I had a really
It's never
interesting
around.
thing from Capcom themselves. I don't know if I can say who said it, but who said that he would be amazed if there's ever a paid for Street Fighter again, saying that game will only be free to play from here on in.
Right.
Which itself is like,
That's
who knows?
weird.
Could you do a Killer Instinct? That's a different model. Like, here's this old IP you all love. By the way, it's a download game, or it's a really low entry.
I
point.
think, and this is slightly tangential to our Microsoft analysis,
Yeah.
but I still think there is scope in the fighting genre for it to be completely retooled. I had like this dream as a young man of someone creating the ultimate pub fight game, like an
You've been listening to the PSN podcast, Tim.
Well, of course, it's an excellent listen, but I think if you look at movies, right? So movies have like car chases, shootouts, and punch-ups, and no one really does good cinematic punch-ups at all.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not quite fair. Something like The Last of Us is going a bit more back in that direction, and Batman had it as well. But I think people still like that sort of stuff. But what they were bored by was it was always women with enormous bazingas like fighting in like pretty locales. It got sort of boring,
it's the
didn't it?
tropiest genre
Yeah.
ever. If someone could reinvent the fighter, so it's like you say, pub fighter, and it was like a sort of more free-form ruckus. This is completely off tangent.
Well, look at the Bourne. Look at the Bourne films. Those
Yeah.
amazing fight scenes in that. Or imagine a fight with 6 or 7 people involved rather than one. I used to like the Power Stone games. We should probably get back to Microsoft.
Yeah,
I don't
sorry.
Think, I don't think these games would sell anyway, right?
They were cool. Pub fighter would sell.
Pub fight would sell
Pub fight would sell.
in South London.
If it was deadly brutal with an element of slapstick, so I could pick up 250p's and flick them in your eyes.
Again,
I would buy
welcome
that
US
game.
viewers.
Yeah, sorry, that's weird. So the list includes, there's other games on this list, including Banjo-Kazooie, Grunty's Island.
Makes sense. Family, tick.
Yeah, Rise, which is
We know
the
it's coming, the
It's already confirmed, isn't it?
Spartacus thing,
Connecty.
Roman thing.
was a Roman thing. It's rumoured to have been reworked.
Is
I don't know what
that
into.
Crytek, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. Crytek Studio doing it.
It's been there's internet videos of it. Apparently, it's changed quite a lot. Fable 4 seems kind
Makes
of a gimme.
sense, yeah.
Crackdown 3.
Yeah.
This is...
This is the problem, though, isn't it? Because it starts sounding quite predictable quite quickly.
It's like when we
Agreed,
reeled
yeah.
off for Sony, we talk Killzone, Infamous. You get a little bit glazed, don't you? Because
because you know exactly what they're going to be like.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the new cycle of hardware is the time when it's best to show off new IP, to take those big risks, because everyone's had a refresh and everyone's ready for the next thing.
But also, you look at launch lineups as if they're going to be like these definitive, carved on bits of stone, like statements of what that machine is. Whereas in fact, like, you look back now at the Xbox, the Xbox 360 lineup, and there's barely a game beyond a Halo you'd play in there. Like,
Dead or Alive.
yeah, their fundamental job is to persuade people to part with their cash for the hardware, and after that you move on to bigger and better things. So there's a danger, I think, in what I'm trying to say. There's a danger in overstating the importance of what that initial raft of games are going to be. Because even like you look at the last generation, it was really the second wave of games. In fact, on almost every console generation, it's the second wave. 6 months down the line,
where people really get it.
They're starting to get the hardware more, and they've had more time to really spend. They're not. It's always an artificial date trying to release a game to hit a new machine's launch.
So what are the other potential pitfalls Microsoft could fall into during this conference?
I think, do you know what, I was thinking about this, and I started thinking of, for some reason, the Galaxy S4 press conference, which I watched in my spare time.
Clothed?
Yeah. And what I really liked about the press conference is they didn't just show off the phone, they showed off how you would use it in your life. So, for example, if you were lost, they showed how you would use the phone to use the maps to look around and everything. And I think they've got to do that, because the big questions about this whole DRM and pre-owned policy is, well, what if I take a game around my friend's house? What if I give him my account? What if?
So do you think a little quick video game? This is how it works.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just this is Ted. He.
This sounds like a Sony-esque dream man factory thing, which is a bit dangerous.
I think their dangers are their usual dangers. I agree with Rob that they have to deal with it. But their dangers are Matrix seeming too much like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, just carping the word experience over and over again. Too much reliance on celebrity and sports people doing stuff that people don't really care about. And just that kind of glitz and noise over real substance. I think that's always been their problem.
Sorry,
go ahead.
No, Rob's right in terms of there was a very confused message in a way that came out of the last one. As much as technically sort of impressive as multiple operating systems and the ability to Skype call your grandma whilst playing Call of Duty is that really solving a problem I've got? Probably not. What they need to do again is show I think a live situation of when that multitasking improves your life. If they could do some kind of demo of, let's say, because they're going to have Call of Duty Ghosts there, if they were to show Call of Duty Ghosts live, you were using Skype to talk to someone else who was playing the game at the same time, and it was being broadcast and they were live stats being fed in, or something that felt useful. Even that in itself sounds confusing to me.
Yeah.
But there might be some example. They've got to fit that golden nugget of why that works and why it's a good thing.
I would say that I think I disagree, because their biggest threat right now is that the Xbox One looks like the inferior console compared to the PS4. The PS4 is a dedicated games device with faster RAM and all the rest of it. And I think if Microsoft doesn't show that the Xbox One is a games platform with the best games, then they're going to be in real trouble.
I agree with what Tim said though, and that's what they're going to do. I think Microsoft, what they have got is it can be a show of awesome force. So they can just come out and go, we've got all this stuff.
They could go here's some exclusive Halo stuff, here's some exclusive, obviously Halo's exclusive then, but here's some COD stuff. There's talk of them potentially having Kojima on stage. They can really wheel out some big guns to at least give that impression that they're every bit as powerful as they were on this generation. And let's not forget, I think they did go from a position on this generation to being the dominant force in AAA console, really.
Yeah, and you relate your third-party exclusives. You can go, hey, it's Mirror's Edge 2. We've got Dead Rising 3. We've got Fallout 4 on stage, and you could even say things like Xbox play Fallout 4 video, and you're demonstrating functionality and rolling straight into an amazing thing. People would be like, whoa.
I'm still off the back of the announcement. I'm still pretty unconvinced that. I'm unconvinced that people have been convinced that the stuff they were showing was things that were going to be integral to their lives and essential. I don't buy the TV stuff yet. I don't buy that it's necessarily enough of a improvement on how I currently live to make me want to buy the machine for that.
My feelings are even harsher than Tim's. I think, genuinely, I think Microsoft has a problem, because if you go to a household and you offered this TV solution for free, and not 300 quid, but for free, I don't think many people would take it. If you say to them, that set-top box you're using, put this box next to it and do the same sort of thing.
Well, this is and perhaps pay for the privilege.
Let's quickly pick up on the rumour today that's being reported, is that for the UK, this is a big deal for the UK. Like Microsoft are rumoured to have tied up with Sky TV, with a big cable provider, effectively in the UK, and it's saying that they'll either offer Xbox One either as a subsidised extra when you get Sky, or potentially as literally a replacement for the set-top box.
I don't believe the replacement box story at all. Personally, I think it would require a massive hard drive. It would be like a change of SKU just for one territory, or even if they're doing it in all territories, it would create logistical complexities that I'd be surprised they would want to engage with. I can believe they want to have a relationship with Sky, and they want to tie in sort of package deals. I can see that, but I think anything else sounds like it's overreaching to me. And I also don't think they would announce that at E3, because E3 is a US fundamentally focused show. And I don't see Microsoft UK just slipping out a press release.
How do you feel? Well,
I don't think it would be that successful anyway. How many people would that appeal to? People who don't have Sky that want Sky and also want an Xbox One. I mean, you're limiting that market so much.
If you've already got a Skybox, you're controlling it now on your iPad and your iPhone or your Android phone. It's really technically strong,
I mean, I take all of that. What I was saying with Tim this morning is I argued is that if as I've got a Skybox, but I want an Xbox One, and I'm also weighing that up in my mind with wanting a PlayStation 4, which is like potentially almost £1,000 of outlay. Now I might just go outright and buy my PlayStation 4. Now, if I want an Xbox and Sky say to me, for £20 a month extra on your contract, you get an Xbox One and it's just your Sky set-top, I might go for that, almost because, not because I necessarily am burning to want it, but hell, why not?
But
it's a cheap way to get to your Xbox One.
It would have to have all the
way to get it in every home.
But it would have to have all the functionality of a Sky Plus box.
But if they could, I don't know, like Tim says, whether they can change the core unit and the hard drive to make it work, I don't know.
I think it's more a case that they would offer like a bundle for new consumers and maybe like an upgrade package for. I just don't see it being a new box. I can see it living with the Skybox, but the whole way it's built, you're talking about a new hardware model. But I think the idea of a relationship with them makes total sense.
Yeah.
But can they make a relationship that's so compelling that it makes PS4 seem less interesting? I'm not.
Okay, well, time is tight. Just finally, then, what are your biggest hopes from Microsoft and the reality of it? I suppose.
As a big fan of what the people at Infinity Ward did before they did a bunk, I'm really excited to see what the Respawn game is. There's talk that it involves big mechs. I'm not a big mech sort of chap, but yeah, really interested to see what they have. And I just hope that if they have flexed their muscles, they've done it in the right way and brought some genuinely interesting stuff to the table, rather than kind of these kind of strange labyrinthine contracts to do with DLC timings and stuff, which I don't much care for.
Yeah, in an ideal world, I think they should get rid of the subscription for Xbox Gold. I think as time goes on, they look more and more antiquated. I think they need AAA games, of course, but they need new IP and interesting and fresh ideas as well. They need clarity about what their DRM and always online and pre-owned fee policies are. And I think they need to show that the Xbox One isn't going to be an extortionately priced machine as well. And if they can get all those 5 things, then maybe they've got a good chance.
Easy. Well, we'll find out really soon.
Yeah, good luck.
Please do subscribe and follow us here, where we'll have E3 post reaction and more. And until the next time, cheerio.